AIADMK General Secretary Ms. Jaya pays floral tributes to Perarinyar Anna to mark his 46th Memorial Day. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister lashes out at the DMK Chief Karunanidhi for his mealy-mouthed statements on the repatriation of Sri Lankan refugees, reiterates the state's stand on the matter. Kenyan industrialists visit Tamil Nadu. Chief Minister invites them for the Global Investors Meet in Chennai. The news in detail. The General Secretary of the AIADMK and the Chief of the People, Ms. Jaya paid floral homage to Perarinyar Anna to mark his 46th Memorial Day. Ms. Jaya offered floral tributes and paid respects to the portrait of Perarinyar Anna today to mark his 46th Memorial Day. Marking the 46th Memorial Day of Perarinyar Anna, floral tributes were paid at his memorial in Chennai on behalf of the AIADMK. AIADMK's Presidium Chairman E. Madhusudanan laid a wreath on the memorial of Perarinyar Anna, situated at the Marina Beach in Chennai, to mark his 46th Memorial Day. Others who took part in paying homage were party's Treasurer and Chief Minister O. Paneerselvam, Dr. Visalakshi Nedunjeriyan, S. MLA, A.K. Selvaraj MP, Adi Rajaram, members of various wings of the party and cadres. Meanwhile, on the advice of the People's Chief Ms. Jaya, special pujas and public feasts were organized across 309 temples in Tamil Nadu, including the Vadivudai Amman Temple in Thiruvattriyur, Parthasarathi Temple in Triplicane, and Arulmigu Aranganadhar Swami Temple in Srirangam. Further, homage was paid to Perarinyar Anna on behalf of the AIADMK across Tamil Nadu. In Delhi, the party's propaganda secretary and the deputy speaker of the Lok Sabha, Dr. M. Thambidurai, and the leader of the party's parliamentary committee, Dr. P. Venugopal, paid floral tributes to the statue of Anna situated in the campus of the parliament. Reaffirming the Tamil Nadu government's stand on repatriation of Sri Lankan refugees, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Paneerselvam today lashed out at DMK Chief M. Karunanidhi for criticizing the state for not participating in a meeting convened by the centre on this issue. In his statement, the Chief Minister stated that he had written a letter to the Prime Minister on 28 January 2015 as a reply after receiving a letter addressed to the Tamil Nadu government by the Union government asking it to send officials on its behalf to hold discussions in connection with the repatriation of Sri Lankan refugees living in Tamil Nadu for many years. In the letter sent by the centre, it was mentioned that a meeting to hold talks on the matter had been convened with the consent of the Sri Lankan refugees living in Tamil Nadu. The Chief Minister further pointed out that he had mentioned in his letter that as many as 212,000 refugees out of the 304,269 have already returned to their country of their own will, besides mentioning that convening a meeting on the matter would only mean motivating the refugees to go back to their country. He further pointed out through his letter that the situation in North and East Sri Lanka was not yet conducive for the repatriation of the refugees. Although the emergence of a new government in Sri Lanka has sent a ray of hope for the refugees, the talks on the matter should be held when the Maithripala Sirisena-led government gives assurances in connection with the matter and only after the goodwill and rehabilitation efforts of the new government were implemented, O. Paneerselvam asserted in his letter. Faulting the DMK Chief M. Karunanidhi for criticizing the Tamil Nadu government for not taking part in the discussions, the Chief Minister said that he has released an irresponsible, meaningless statement without understanding anything about the Tamil Nadu government's stand and his letter to the centre in this regard. Saying that Karunanidhi had mentioned about irrelevant matters in his statement, the Chief Minister said it confused not only the others but his own self as well. Paneerselvam said that the centre has prematurely arranged for talks on the matter at a time when the Sri Lankan refugees in Tamil Nadu as well as the Sri Lankan Tamils living in their own country are vague about their future. Only after the promises of the new government on the goodwill and the repatriation of refugees are implemented, there would be some hope for the refugees, he added. Pointing out that as many as 212,000 Sri Lankan refugees out of the 304,269 have already returned to their country, Paneerselvam said that everyone knew about the intention of the meeting being arranged under such circumstances. Karunanidhi is so eager to send the Sri Lankan refugees back to their country, the Chief Minister pointed out. Karunanidhi, who betrayed the Sri Lankan Tamils in 2009 by being one of the reasons for their killing, is now betraying them again by trying to send them back. The Chief Minister flaked the erstwhile UPA government, of which the DMK was a constituent, for extending all forms of support to the earlier Sri Lankan government, which had destroyed the Tamil community in the island nation. O. Paneerselvam recalled several news items like secret training given by the Indian Army to their counterparts in Lanka in Indian soil, supply of weapons and high-tech radar equipment to Sri Lanka by India, and frequent visits paid by the senior army officials and political leaders of India to Sri Lanka were earlier published in the media. It was Puratchi Thalavi Amma who had condemned such acts which went against the interests of the Tamil community. On the other hand, DMK chief Karunanidhi, who wielded power both at the centre and state level, staged a drama in which he had convened an all-party meeting and passed a resolution that all the members of parliament from Tamil Nadu will resign if the central government within a period of 2 weeks failed to take any efforts to put an end to the war. Later, he drew curtains on the drama by saying that he was satisfied with the measures taken by the central government. Apart from this, Karunanidhi had staged several other dramas like all-party meeting, MLAs meet, passing of resolution in the Tamil Nadu Assembly, human chain protests, handing over of resignation letters of MPs to Karunanidhi, letters to the Prime Minister, meeting with the Prime Minister in Delhi, strikes, processions, and to cap it all, a 3-hour fasting. Later, when lakhs of Sri Lankan Tamils were made to stay in camps without any proper facilities and tortured by the then Sri Lankan government, Karunanidhi had sent his daughter Kanimuri along with MPs of DMK and Congress to the island nation to meet the then president responsible for the genocide, to exchange sweets and shake hands. Following this, the press was informed that no Tamils in the camp were ill-treated. This was another eyewash staged by Karunanidhi in consonance with his other deceitful dramas. Paneerselvam sought to know what was wrong in Tamil Nadu government's stand that the meeting, where India and Sri Lanka discussed on the repatriation of Lankan Tamils, should be held only after the goodwill and rehabilitation efforts of the Maithripala Sirisena-led government were implemented. Neutral observers will accept that such a decision was taken because of the Tamil Nadu government's concern for the refugees, he said, quoting the reported remarks of Sri Lankan MP Sini Thambi Yogeshwaran that the situation in the northeast was not conducive for Tamils to live. The new government was making efforts to change it and settle them there and then address the refugees issue. The Chief Minister said this echoed his own government's stand. Tamil Nadu government's stand was that Tamils living in camps in Sri Lanka should be rehabilitated first, and only after that the meeting about repatriation of refugees should be held, the Chief Minister said. It was condemnable that Karunanidhi, who has not done anything for the welfare of Sri Lankan Tamils, has issued a statement supposedly in favour of the refugees, he said. The AIADMK government has been delivering various welfare measures for Sri Lankan refugees in the state, with Puratchi Thalavi Amma expanding government schemes to benefit them, he said. While the centre has allocated 37.30 crore rupees for them in 2013 to 14, the state government has spent 11 crore rupees for their welfare, he pointed out. The Chief Minister pointed out that Karunanidhi had made claims about building houses for the Lankan refugees by the erstwhile DMK regime. But in reality, it was the NGOs who had constructed it. Reaffirming his government's stand on repatriation of Sri Lankan refugees, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Paneerselvam said it was premature since the situation was not yet ripe for it. A delegation from the Republic of Kenya, led by Aden Mohammed, Cabinet Secretary for Industrialization and Enterprise Development, met Chief Minister O. Paneerselvam at the Secretariat today. The Chief Minister recalled the long history of economic and cultural relationship between India and Kenya and the role of the Indian community in Kenya towards strengthening of bilateral relations. India is the largest exporter to Kenya, and Indian exports to Kenya include pharmaceuticals, steel, machinery and automobiles. Many of these automobiles are made in Tamil Nadu. The Chief Minister mentioned that Tamil Nadu was ranked second largest state economy among Indian states, and that in order to catapult the state to numero uno position, Puratchi Thalavi Amma had unveiled Vision Tamil Nadu 2023. He added that this was a blueprint for the state's development agenda, and it aims to place Tamil Nadu in the league of upper middle income countries with a per capita income of $10,000 by 2023. Chief Minister recalled that Tamil Nadu offers a number of competitive advantages for investors and highlighted that Tamil Nadu's biggest asset was its rich human resource endowment. The abundance of skilled human resource and harmonious and peaceful industrial relations make Tamil Nadu a preferred investment destination. The Chief Minister stated that as two developing nations, Kenya and India have a lot to learn from each other. The Cabinet Secretary, Industrialization and Economic Development, Aden Mohammed, thanked the Chief Minister and the state for the hospitality. He mentioned that they had spent 3 days in Coimbatore and visited many textile factories, engineering factories and medical facilities and were very impressed with what they saw. He believed that there were many opportunities for collaboration. He believed that Kenyans of Indian origin provided the glue between the two countries. He believed that as Kenya has a special trade arrangement with the United States and the European Union, under which exports from Kenya were levied zero tariff, companies from India could consider establishing manufacturing operations in Kenya to take advantage of zero tariff exports into large markets. The High Commissioner of Kenya to India mentioned that tourism was another major sector where collaboration was possible. As Chennai was also a very large film-making centre, Kenya could also be considered as a film shooting venue given the beautiful natural attractions in the country. The Chief Minister invited business delegations and investors from the Republic of Kenya to attend the Global Investors Meet proposed to be organised by the state government on 23rd and 24th May 2015 in Chennai. The Cabinet Secretary of the Republic of Kenya was accompanied by Florence Iweshe, the High Commissioner for the Republic of Kenya in India, Oburu Oginga MP, Joseph Limo MP, Sakwa Munyasi MP, Titus Ibui, Chairman of the Kenya Leather Development Council, and Aden Abdullah, Chairman Export Processing Zones, K. Desigan, Chief Secretary to Government, Sheila Balakrishnan, Advisor to the Tamil Nadu Government, K. Ramanujam, Advisor to the Government, C. V. Shankar, Additional Chief Secretary, Industries Department, K. Shanmugam, Principal Secretary to Government, Finance Department, and S. Krishnan, Principal Secretary to Government, Planning Development and Special Initiatives Department were present.